people of the Great Awakening. Not long ago, as we all know, the CIA and NSA recorded every step we made. Surveillance tape recorded everything we say, tracking everything we do every single day. Our privacy stolen by the deep state. They didn't hide their crimes, that's a very big mistake. They didn't think about the good guys in the NSA, cause they thought that Hillary would be the president today. Here's a message to all my friends. Let me tell you about something that's happening, about a movement called
the other stipulation that that person made was that our town is out of toilet paper. Oh my God! You know, what is this? The end times? I mean, you know, think about it. I mean, let's ask the question: what do you use to wash your butt? It ain't toilet paper because it won't make it through the shower, right? Well, anyway, if you gotta use something, you can, you know, go to the dollar store and buy a whole humongous stack of them push-on things. I said, hey, what with all this stuff going on? Hey, ET, hello, boys. Wouldn't this be a good time to insert yourself into our little game we're playing? And one of the, he's a crusty commander. Now, the reason I say he's crustier than I am, and I get pretty crusty. This old boy, he gives me a funny look. And I mean, it's funny looking. You know, like, dude, what's the matter with you? I said, hey, it's perfect time. Everybody's locked down at home. You can't go anywhere. They ain't serving up burgers or anything and doing nothing. You know, with everybody, you know, at home, that would be perfect. They won't even see you land. You could land in the parking lot of one of the malls, and nobody pay no attention. They probably figure that they had, oh, I bet the bug has given me hallucinations or some silly shit. Okay, so what we're looking at is not necessarily reality. And E.T. said, no, it ain't settled down or calmed down yet again. I said, well, maybe you guys could tell somebody to get off the stick, you know, shift gears or something, use that clutch, get it out of granny gear and let's go. And they said they would see what they could do. I have no idea what that means. They may be getting ready to smack somebody around. Now, I'll give you a clue. One of the reasons that the red-eyed demon of Russia is so popular is because he grabbed a certain well-known leader of Russia by the throat and went, smacked him around. Look here, boy, you know, straighten up your stuff, okay? And he did. Now, the situation is really interesting. Back during the Great Depression and other problems of this nature, and it wasn't exactly like this. This is the first. But back during the great financial problems, there was one in 1785, 1803, and 1810, and these problems were similar in scope because of the amount of money involved in the number of people to what we got going on in what's called the Great Depression. Now, the Great Depression was a real mother, but it fell, stock market fell over 1, 2, 3 days, 4 days maybe. It took them, let's see here. I got the notes over here. Let me grab my, oh boy, they're buried. Bummer. Oh no, they're on the other side of the tablet. I knew something was wrong. Okay, the Great Depression started in 1929. The central bank screwed things up again in 1931, and so we stayed where we was at. They didn't actually accomplish much other than rip the scabs off. Or you remember when you'd have a Band-Aid stuck to your hand or something, and one of your uncles or your mom or somebody grab that dog and go rip, and you could swear to God your whole arm just fell off. Well, central banks acted equally stupidly. So what they did was And we had a 3-year period, Great Depression, boom, everything goes in the toilet. And we had these little bumps and ups and downs and whatevers that were a part of them trying to fix it. Every time they tried to fix it, it screwed it up again. Finally, we had a president who said, hey, quit screwing with it, leave it alone, see what it does. They did. Guess what? We recovered. Okay. The effects of the Great Depression were felt worldwide, similarly to the globalism that we've got going on right now. The difference is this: it was not nearly as severe globally. It wasn't like being here, where you had to go to the bean line if you wanted to eat, that sort of thing. The market at the just before everything fell over, just before the Great Depression monetarily kicked in, was at 381. It closed 3 days later at 41. Now that's a 89% loss. We're near that. We're at about 35%, somewhere in that area. We're approaching 40 to 50. But the neat thing about the Great Depression is the amount of time it took to bring things back to normal. Now that's normal production, that's normal jobs, that's normal, people going out and about. And you're going to love this. From 1933, that's a year after the central bank quit screwing it up, it took until 1954 to recover. That was when they got back to where it all started from. That 381 finally reached that level again. It was solid. It wasn't fluctuating like our market is now. It was like some kind of a roller coaster ride. That's 21 years. Now, think about it very carefully. So this time we have something multiply worse. And by that I mean the reason I'm saying that, everything is shut down globally. Now, China decided to put people back to work anyway. No, what that means is that the deep state, both there and here, people are getting ready to go back to work, by the way. Before we'll wait until the end of the month. Guess what? They ain't gonna wait till the end of the month. My moneymaker is broke. And that's where the problem comes in. Now, the further part of this is that if you noticed or watched the market at all, it's doing this stuff. It's called flutter. That means that it gets to a certain general level and flutters. Goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, goes sideways once in a while. What we're looking at is that these people are desperate. And there's a reason for that. If or when the market goes into the 18s and stays there, the whole of the financial markets, all of them, get to reconsider the basis whereby they operate, the very basics, and they're going to have to adjust a bunch of stuff. The federal government's saying, we'll send you some money. Okay, well, how many times and how long can you do that? Trying to say, vaccines are going to wait until August. January, February, March, and August is 8. What are we talking? Why are we talking about 6 months? South Korea already did it. Why ain't we? Is right up to here. There has to be some kind of problem in the wood pile. So I talked to ET again. I said, hey, well, what about all this stuff? He said, well, the general news is that we are we have re-outfitted the moon and we're restocking it, resupplying it. This is why you might see great motherships on the dark side of the moon or getting into that area, dropping off stuff. Now, a lot of people don't know how big a mothership is. Take about, double wide, 3 tall, and 6 long battleships or aircraft carriers. They'll fit comfortably inside a mothership. That's how big they're huge. So the situation we've got is that Supposedly, according to some people who don't care how many people understand that they forgot to be sure brain was engaged before putting their mouth into gear, stipulate things. There's a lot of stuff going on from Q, a lot of quotes. They're not accurate. They did not come from the White Hats. Well, how do I know? One of the White Hats is a pretty good friend, I consider, and I know the others some of the others as well. And they said there ain't no way. If it ain't on our website, that's where you go to check. If it ain't on our website, we did not publish or produce it. Think about that very carefully. Number 3, and this is the fun part. ET is stipulating to certain people to get ready for a. Actually, it'd be pretty much like chemtrails on steroids. They got something that kills all the nasty stuff, and they're getting ready to spray the whole planet, so we don't have to fool with it no more. Okay. Now the problem is that when you turn something off, like our economy, no burgers out the door or whatever, it takes a period of time in order to get that thing started back up again. This is auto plants. This is fast food. It's everything. Groceries. All the groceries are getting emergency shipments of non-perishables like dried goods, as well as canned goods. Apparently, somebody figured out what the oligarchs were up to. Now, the oligarch can be somebody that makes $250,000 a year. And what is interesting about what they stipulated was this. The reason the gold and silver prices and whatnot keep bouncing up and down, they're selling. Why are they selling? Well, their moneymaker's broke and they ain't getting no cash. So, first thing you're looking for is cash. Now, here's the fun. This is the kicker. The second thing you're looking for is food. Oh. By the way, ammunition and gun sales are at 5 times normal. Everybody's buying. Think about that very carefully. You might need one in order to keep them from, we'll say, in your case, barbecue your dog. Would you be willing to shoot him? I would, just because the dog don't deserve that. It's a nice dog. I don't think that people get it. We got a lot of division, for one, okay, be it political, social, or whatever. And that division has been getting worse. It started back in the late 70s, early 80s, and it has been growing ever since. Now, in the 90s, it went boom. And by that, I mean the people that, oh, you're dissing me. And this little dink will pull out a gun and go, bang, just shoot you. Well, that generation now is, and think about it, from the 80s to now, that's 30 years. These people are grown. What do you do? What do you think they did in terms of raising their kids? What do you think they taught them? That it is okay to expend human life just because you feel like it ought to be done. No good reason other than exactly what I said. And that societal change, where you're playing video games, you're not dealing with straight up human interaction, you know, where you get together, where you buddy around, you enjoy things, okay? That's not happening. Everything's shut down, for one. You think that helps? No, that makes it worse. That separates people more so than they were already separated. Now, the ideologies, such as I'm a carnivore or omnivore. I like veggies. I love veggies. Those things are mild. The political scene, however, I want to kill something. Well, okay, that's horse hockey as well. Why? Because either party is the flip side of the same coin. Think about that very carefully. There was a movie called Shooter, and Wahlberg did a pretty good job in that, but there were some things said. There ain't no Shiites and Muslims. There's only haves and have-nots. Think about that very carefully. 70%, 80% of the have-nots. Okay? There's only so many seats at the table. You might as well get well paid for what you can do, that sort of thing. And Then the stipulation was that because of what has been transpiring, it will continue to transpire as it has in the past. There's a problem with that. President Trump and some other key people, and I mean a bunch of them, have been briefed in terms of the fact that they're obviously aware the horse hockey, the idea of an ankle biter munching around on your ankles don't fly. The American people are tired of it, and I mean tired to the point where they're looking at smacking somebody over it. Okay, we're at the edge, and we'll find out very quickly. One, are they serious about attending to this disease and turning business back on worldwide? That's one question that will be answered very near future. Number two, are the divisions sufficient to cause a society to break down? Now, this does not have anything to do with our democracy. When society goes, everything else goes. That's where you take a gun and go, instead of your wallet, you go shopping, basically. And you're going to have a whole bunch of people, if this continues. Now, you got to remember, it's got to continue. How many people are in big cities? That's the first question. Number two, the second part of that is, what do they got? Have they got a little bitty apartment where they can't store any canned goods and that sort of thing? Do they have a water supply outside of the municipal pipes? When any of that stuff stops, be it the electricity, water, whatever, or they go to the store and the store's empty, you're going to have people coming out of big cities. And we already got our area is already set to be locked down. We've already got positions to take up. And believe me, the people that are going to man these positions are professionals. You ain't getting past them no matter what you bring. To go along with it, certain portions of the military have stipulated to certain people that if there is a great need, and by that I mean something gets to the point where a group of people is going to wipe out a town or something of that nature, just give us a call. We'll come over and bomb the crap out of them, or whatever it takes. Oh, hey, if a whole bunch of people try to come into our area and take what we got, they better bring body bags, because we're going to need a bunch of them. I'm a combat veteran, and these people would be an enemy. They would be looking at going after my wife. I'm going to have that. Come after me, and I will shoot back. Come after my wife, and I make sure I don't miss. Real simple. Somebody wants to barbecue your dog. I'm pretty sure if you had a gun, you'd shoot him. I didn't say kill him. I said shoot him. And there's places you can shoot somebody, believe me, they do not want to be shot. A one-line print, think about it, 60 pages, one-line print. You can get about 100 or so per page. So there's about 6,000 of them on there. And these are the people that are up front. These are the people that are going to have to take out. The things that have been going on in terms of the horse hockey that's been coming up, a case in point, Schumer saying that threatening the Supreme Court justices. What is wrong with the boy? He should have been arrested as soon as he did that. He should have grounded his freaking airplane and said, "You ain't going nowhere, boy. Here, I got a set of bracelets. Put your hands behind your back." That's what should have been done. You may not. Now, and there's a couple of people running around out there that have signified that we ought to hang President Trump. Well, that's a threat against the president. It's just like the Supreme Court justice. You go to jail for that crap, or should. If it was a regular person like me or you or some of our listeners, you wouldn't see the light of day for a long time. Well, maybe they need to start doing it with this. Now, I understand that there is a partial list of critical people in terms of the deep state, in terms of the cabal, or however you want to look at it, that are due to be arrested very soon. They didn't tell me when, and they refused to tell me. They think that the guys might know that we're coming and try to hoof it out of here. Okay. Well, it's like closing the Canadian border. That's the biggest friggin' joke on the planet, just about. You've got several thousand miles of really deep woods, and you got a whole bunch of Indians and hunters and whatnot that know the little trails that you never even have a suspicion is there. They found one the other day by accident. Somebody, I think somebody had some pots and pans or something, and when they fell over, they made a clangety clang noise, and all the border agents was woof and snatched them up. There was like, 20 of them or something in the group. But the situation is untenable. We cannot stay shut down, either locally here or globally. Can't do it. Well, so what do we got to do? Fix the disease. Trump said that several times. Well, okay, President Trump. Now, and I have sent this through my chain that links to Trump, that it's time to go get that antiviral, among other things, and start using the hell out of it. Eliminated some 75, 80 people right in the area where this started. He took it over, formulation so that they knew how to reproduce it, and they've taken care of the problem. Now you know how it got there. Now, here's the other part of it. No government entity will mess with the autonomy of the people, and specifically the scientists who have come up with not only this, but are also working on a vaccine. Government's not allowed in there. Big Pharma is not allowed in there. Now, Big Pharma showed up. That was another 15 people who went to jail. They got testy with the guard. Whoops. I mean, and this is all around Wuhan, or whatever the name of that place is. There's a big, major bioweapons laboratory there. It's big. What they did was they closed off a section of it, and the only thing that they had been concentrating on was the antiviral. Now, this antiviral is neat. It has the antigen, which kills the virus. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. The same thing's true in terms of what they're trying to accomplish with this. Now, this is the first time, and I mean the first time, that they've come up with something of this nature, pretty much autonomously. It's also the first time that the world's been in this kind of condition. This is new ground. You're going to have to deal with some things you might not like right at first. When you don't get sick from this stuff and your lungs collapse, that I think is worth the shot. Now, the shot, as I said, it's got an antigen, kills the virus, and clinically pure water. That's it. Here's the thing. The dollar in terms of its strength is going up, believe it or not. The reason being is that we are supposed to be handling things. One of the reasons. The other reason is that the oligarchs, deep state, nasties, cabal, whatever you want to call it, are the ones that are responsible for the sudden upward explosion in the stock market. Now, that takes billions, as I've stipulated before. It takes billions of dollars to do that. Look at the billionaires. Now, if you want to know who the deep state, oligarchs, cabal, troublemakers are, get a list of the investors that are fooling around real heavy on the stock market right now, and have in the near past. You'll have a pretty comprehensive list as to who really needs to go to Gitmo. The crimes you don't see are the ones that are really nasty. The ones you can see out front, I mean, it's not nearly as nasty to shoot somebody as it is to torture them all their life to death. So, you got to look at things in relative reality. The problem is that, well, people love this. You can take the Civil Rights Act and use it for toilet paper, and the reason you can is because it never has had any real solid effect overall. Well, what happened? Come on, guys. You're willing to march to Selma behind Martin Luther King, but you're not willing to stand up for yourselves. Martin Luther King even said that didn't make sense. Go figure. Well, it's like saying that abortion is a right. Well, guess what? You also have a responsibility, and you're not upholding your end of it, so why should we uphold ours? Go figure it out yourself. Get a coat hanger and go visit Funky Bubba in the alley and get it took care of, you know. So I'm going to answer that because that's a long time coming. And here's how it is. Nobody but nobody, no special group of any kind has any special rights other than what you got in the Constitution. That said, I haven't seen too many people who are having a problem with people treading on their rights, standing up and having a federal judge say, when are you going to stand up for yourself? Hello? Oh, I stand up just fine. No, you don't. If anybody had been pushing the ideology that there is no orientation, be it race or color or whatever, that qualifies you for extra rights, everybody might realize it. Okay, here's the deal. It's called responsibility. You are to take up that gauntlet of responsibility, grab hold of it, and don't never let go, and beat people over the head on a legal basis with their responsibility of not doing nasty things to you because you are gay, black, or whatever. Pretty simple. After we transition, there won't be any such thing as political parties of any kind. It's gone. Necessity is seen to by people who can do that. No, anybody that goes for the red flag law is a monstrous bastard that needs to leave our country because, number one, Second Amendment says we can. The Supreme Court ruled on that we can. Number two, and this is the biggie, you notice during the hearings for the impeachment process that the Trump lawyers and Trump people were not allowed due process. Due process protects you from people that are idiots like the ones running that inquiry. They wanted to play inquest. Then Pelosi has the unmitigated gall. We got to have a fair trial. Guess what, buttwipe? You need to take your snowflake, go home. You had your chance and you blew it. So, no. And you're not taking my guns without a gunfight. Just that simple. And there's a lot of people out there who also agree with that, and they're not going to play the game. It's bullshit politics. Taking guns does not, or restricting them, or forbidding them, or you can't have a big magazine, or any of that other happy crap. Ask Chicago, one of the strictest gun law places on the planet. How's it going in the Wild West? Hey, California is real restrictive. What's with all those mass murders? You dingle bats and your, gun-free zone. Well, guess what? I carry everywhere, period. Somebody don't like it? Well, it could get dicey depending on how they act about it. But the very simple fact is it says, shall not be infringed. What part of no don't you get? Now, and I just did a little diatribe on rights. Where are all these people, hello, the masses, that might disagree with the idea of not having due process? Because if it can be guns one day, or your rights the next, maybe your freedom the third day, who knows? But if you don't stand up and have these laws declared unconstitutional, it's for your safety. My ass, you policemen are outgunned and you don't like it. Don't play paddling puking with me. It don't work. Anybody who don't stand up for their rights doesn't deserve them. Absolutely, it's on its way. It's called law and order, and they're going to get a dose of it where the sun don't shine. And I mean it quite literally. They're going to play proctologist with some of these dinglebats that have needed to have been addressed a long time ago. The duality of the law and application and all these other things are going to be dumped, and I mean dumped hard, not just, man, we're going to do it this way. No, it's going to be, hey, you got a choice. Either act right or go to the pokey. Which is it? Real simple. Everybody ought to pay attention to some of the things that are going on that they don't see. Something that's not right in the news media. You get coronavirus stuff everywhere. What happened to all the rest of the news throughout the world? Find a place like RT or somewhere that covers it and stay informed. Then you'll know the right way to go. Hi, y'all.
Trump sentence, he has all the proof of the crime, and it's gonna be released all in good time. But first, let's drain the swamp, clean the dump, expose the lies, get the lying dirty judges out. Then you'll shine the light until there's no end, and show Obama like to get a FISA war, and the DNC and Hillary's fight illegally on the Trump campaign and his family. That's a major crime scene. They lost their power, they can't defend. We're witnessing the